And most of all, think of me when you choose the future. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor at such a tender age to be given the privilege to introduce someone who so many people here, young and old, fondly call by first name. But to us all, she is as well the Honorable Prime Minister of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, Kamla Persad-Wisesa.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Good evening to you, Partnership Posse. Good evening to all of you. Seeing you in your thousands here today, my heart is filled with humility and with love. My spirit is soaring in the light of your goodness and goodwill, and my cup is full and runneth over in gratitude and in faith. Seeing you today in your thousands strengthens my view that no weapon formed against thee shall prosper, and every tongue that shall rise against thee in judgment thou shalt condemn. This is the heritage of the servants of the Lord, and their righteousness is of me, saith the Lord. And that is why we must continue to put God in front, to lead us and walk behind. For 5 years, sometimes difficult years, but always very eventful years, you have stood by my side. You have inspired me, and yes, sometimes you chastised me. But you know what? You never gave up on me. You never gave up on me. And you know what? I never gave up on you. I have never given up on you. Never, never. Because you see, you are my rock. You are my strength. And it's upon your shoulders that we will win this next election, general election 2015. You never gave up. As I spearheaded a government hewn out of your hopes, out of your dreams, out of your aspirations, striving to achieve all that is progressive, all that is humane, all that is equitable, all that is just for our motherland, blessed Trinidad and Tobago. And so, here you are again, standing so tall, standing so resolute. You give me the strength and the courage once more. You infuse me with your very powerful, invincible spirit of courage and faith to tell me that as long as we continue to hold hands and continue the great fight that we began 5 years ago to develop our mighty nation of freedom, of prosperity, of equality for all, which our parents dreamt of, I know as long as we continue to hold hands to fight, that victory will be ours. Will you hold my hand? Will you take my hand into victory? Will you take my hand and march into victory? You know, I say, not only am I humbled by your love, by your support, by your commitment, today, I am renewed with a spirit of resolve and determination to take your hands, to fight the battle ahead on your behalf, so that our country, our great land, will never, never, ever return to that place of desolation it used to be before 2010. Never, ever again. Never. You see the bells of freedom and hope, which in your hundreds of thousands you rang 5 years ago, they continue to ring today. Those bells continue to echo in our hearts and in our souls, and today, as the battle for our country's future draws close once more, those bells will ring again, and they will become victory bells as we renew our commitment to Trinidad and Tobago. Those bells continue to ring. They continue to ring. Under the light of God's mercy and goodness and blessings, they continue to point the way forward. Today I ask you that you must never ever forget, in this season of renewal and rebirth, let us never forget the ills and evils that once plagued our land, which brought us to that fateful day 5 years to the day in 2010. 5 years ago, history was made in Trinidad and Tobago. And I want to make it clear that it was not Kamla Persad Bissessar who made that history as our first woman Prime Minister. No, that was not the history. It was you. You, the people of Trinidad and Tobago, who made history in our land. It was you and you and you and everywhere that made such history for us. And therefore, at the right time, you came together at one of the darkest points in our nation's history, when for decades our money was squandered. Our women, our children, our elderly, the poor, the most vulnerable, they were being abandoned and neglected by the state at a time when there was so much wealth. It was a time when crime made us send our children away from their natural birthright, to lock ourselves in homes like prisoners, when unemployment and neglect made our children lost and doomed. It was a time when our democracy and our constitutionally enshrined freedoms were being threatened by a dictatorial government. And you are the people. You came together. You threw off the shackles of fear, of discord and distrust of our differences. And you renewed your faith in Trinidad and Tobago by summoning the great spirit of unity, nationalism, humanity, justice and love, which had simmered in our hearts and minds and souls for decades before. You, the people of Trinidad and Tobago, you became an invincible force of all that is great. And you destroy the failed policies which tore us apart as a people and a nation. The failed ideas and lies which for decades left us lost and disenchanted. And when you came forward at that time, like Isaiah, then I heard the voice of the Lord saying, whom shall I send? Whom shall I send? And then I said, oh Lord, here I am, send me. Oh Lord, here I am, send me. And that is how, together, in 2010, we came hand in hand as a partnership with you. You resoundingly voted for a government based on a partnership of interests from every field of human and humanitarian interest in our country, committed to serving you. We must never forget that fateful day 5 years ago, because you know, those who forget the past are doomed to live that past again. We must never, ever forget. And just as I urge you to never forget the problems in our society, political and economic ills that united us today, I renew my commitment to you. I want to assure you that I have never forgotten the partners in our great government who, like you, have also stood firm, proud, and resolute with me, side by side for the 5 years in our quest to achieve a government of the people, by the people, and for the people, our partners in government. To my constituents of Superior, who gave me their vote of confidence more than 2 decades ago, when nobody else knew me really, when all I was then was a young politician with a desire to serve. The constituents of Superior placed a level of trust, loyalty, and belief. And for that kind of love and devotion, Superior, I can never, ever, ever repay you. I say thank you. Thank you. I will always be a servant, humble, grateful, and part of your family, until the day when there are no more days, when I cross the River Jordan. I will be with you till the very end. To the great founder of the United National Congress, Mr. Basti Pandey, for your strength, for your courage, for your vision to fight for the people of this country so tirelessly, for your faith, Mr. Pandey, in me, all those years that we worked together to serve this great party and nation. To Mr. Pandey, I say, thank you, Mr. Pandey, thank you. I know, Mr. Pandey, your birthday is tomorrow. And today, I say, let us shout out to Mr. Pandey, happy birthday, Mr. Pandey. Happy birthday, Mr. Pandey. Happy birthday. May the good Lord continue to bless and keep you. And to my fellow executive members, MPs, ministers, members and supporters of the UNC, who toiled with me for decades in our great party, I say thank you for electing me, thank you for supporting me through the years as your colleague. And then as leader of the party, we all gave so much of our time, resources, and energy to build on behalf of our wonderful, inspiring, and strong supporters. You in the UNC chose to stand with me as your leader in 2010 in the battle of one of the country's most established, long-standing political leader, 2010, when there was no precedent in this country for what I was doing then, but you stood with me. Like the great people of this country, you believed in my abilities and talent to lead you into government. And through it, and it took a lot of faith to do that. To you, the UNC, thank you for staying the course with me, all of us in the United National Congress. To our brothers and sisters of the Congress of the People, who entered into a partnership with your tremendous ideals and abilities, who stayed the course and gave to the partnership your immense talent and support. I say thank you to the COP leadership and supporters. And I say further, that after the journey we have been through over the last 5 years, I have no doubt that you, our friends and colleagues in the COP, I know, we will always be friends, colleagues, and partners in our quest to achieve the great nation of our parents' dreams. Thank you, COP. To the Labour legend and founder of the MSJ, Mr. Errol McLeod, thank you. You brought to our government the skill and sensitivities of the social and economic labor sector, which form the modern-day democracy of our country. For it is the workers who build our country's political and economic system. Mr. McLeod, for this expertise and support, I say thank you. Thank you for ensuring that my government fulfill its commitment of equity and justice to the working men and women of our country. To the TOP and Ashwath Jack leader, members of the TOP, you ensure that our sister Isles and its lovely citizens got the development and progressive attention which had eluded them for years. We look forward to the continued role of the TOP in our partnership as we go forward to Victory 2015. And to the evergreen Chief Servant Makandal Dagger, our country's foremost revolutionary, whose vision and courage and foresight changed our country and introduced in practice by force the concept of equality. Mr. Dagger, without your great work, Trinidad and Tobago would never have been the place of hope and equality that it is today. Thank you for bringing your great history, your ideas and inspiration to the partnership. Thank you for all you are. Thank you for being the voice of conscience and justice in our nation. And so, I say, when we think back 5 years ago, we think back all the times when the naysayers said we would collapse as a coalition. And I say, the partnership and the people has proven them wrong by standing with each other and by standing with me. Tonight, this evening, when the dust settles here this evening, we will wipe the opposition off the face of the map of Trinidad and Tobago. And it will be the partnership that will be the vehicle to take you forward into the future of Trinidad and Tobago. In the past 5 years, when the storms of global economic crisis, the social and political mischief makers raged, you all stood by me. When tribulations hit our government, you kept your faith and gave me strength and resolve, so that today we continue to stand as a force of unity and all that is great and all that is strong. So, shout it out from the mountaintops and let the people of this land know that we will never falter. Together we go, stronger than ever. Victory into the next 5 years. As we commit here to move forward for another 5 years, let me just share with you an account of the unprecedented people-centered policies we have implemented and some of the work we have done in the past 5 years. There is no way. We will need 5 years to tell you all of the work that we have done. So I'll just share some of it today. You all know the state of our country we met in 2010. Look, take a good look, take an honest look, and compare 2010 to what we have today. There is no doubt that there is a truly better place where citizens at every level are better off in every possible way. Indeed, it feels as we went through the decades of trials and tribulations under the PNM to take us this far. Let us talk a moment about growth, because these are important matters as we go into the future. In 2010 and 2011, we struggled as your government to take our country from the steep decline, minus 4.4%. We struggled in 2010 and 11 to have recovery and growth. We succeeded in achieving growth in 2012, in 2013, in 2014, and I know we will continue to have growth in 2015. This is because, in spite of the drop in the oil prices, we have been working to ensure that there will be no slippage or fallout, and we are working to ensure a continuing flow of investment. Listen, in the past 5 years, we have signed 21 production sharing contracts licensed to conduct exploration and drilling activity. These contracts license are worth $2 billion US. That is about 13 billion TT dollars in investment. And that investment has helped us to create more jobs in Trinidad and Tobago. In the energy sector, BP has approved a 2.1 billion US, which is about 13 billion TT dollars investment for the Juniper project. This project will entail fabrication of a platform in La Brea, and over 300 jobs have already been created in La Brea out of that project. Mitsubishi of Japan have committed to an investment of about 6 billion TT dollars in a methanol to DME petrochemical complex in La Brea in partnership with Massey and NGC. This project is a true public-private partnership, international as well as local players, and it will create about 2,000 construction jobs down in the Liberia end. I shared this with you because that is what I know is very important, the investment in Trinidad and Tobago, but jobs, jobs, jobs. So over 2,000 construction jobs will come about from this project. Excuse me. Shell's CEO has said, when he visited me earlier this year, that Trinidad and Tobago was very important to his company's overall $70 billion US acquisition of BG. That takeover of BG will be finalized over the next year with very positive implications for Trinidad and Tobago. In 2012, Trinidad and Tobago was ranked at 69 in the Fraser Institute Global Petroleum Survey. What that survey does is to measure attractiveness of investors of a particular country. By 2014, we had improved in our rank. We had a movement of 25 places from 69 in 2012. 2014, we had moved up to number 44 in the world. It shows that we are moving in the right direction, and that Trinidad and Tobago is advancing as a destination for energy investments. You know, I mentioned Chicken Licken walking all over the land, saying the sky is falling down. But the sky is not falling down. And let me share with you somewhat on the state of the economy of Trinidad and Tobago. The 5 years have not been the easiest, but we have come through and we have done well to achieve modest growth in the circumstances. We have brought inflation down to less than 7%. It was 13.6% in June 2010. By half, 50% inflation down. We have created thousands of jobs. About 55,800 new jobs have been created in the 5 years we've been in office. There are now about 638,000 people in the workforce. We have brought the unemployment rate down from 4.8% to 3.1%. When we say the unemployment rate is 3.1%, do you know what that means? It means that 93.9% of our workforce, our labor force, is gainfully employed in Trinidad and Tobago. Our Heritage and Stabilization Fund, which was US $3.1 billion in 2010, now stands at US $5.6 billion in HSF. Our foreign exchange reserves is currently US $10.8 billion. And do you know something? Over 5,600 new businesses have registered in 2013. And 5,800 new businesses have registered in 2014. Isn't that a sign of an economy that is growing, that is buoyant, that is stable, and in which there is confidence? Under the Business Names Act, over 9,000 new business names have been registered in 2013, and this was repeated in 2014. These represent names and brands who intend to do business in TNT. As this investment grows, we talk about February 2015. There are 786,297 motor vehicles registered in Trinidad and Tobago. A population of 1.3 million. We have 786 297,000 vehicles registered. And you know what? 33,683 of these vehicles were sold in Trinidad and Tobago in 2014. 33,600. In 2013, 26,000 vehicles were sold. So the number of vehicles being sold keeps increasing. I share this with you again, that our country is prospering. The people of our land are doing better and better. And when you give us another 5 years, we will continue to improve the quality of life of all the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. Let's talk a little about prudent fiscal management. Prudent fiscal management. In circumstances where the price of oil and gas have dropped, we must be prudent. It is the same if your household income drops. You have to be careful how you spend the money that you have. And that is why we recalibrated our budget, which we had predicated for oil US $80 and for gas $2.7 US. We brought it down. And we said we will bring that down. We'll recalibrate the budget, realign the budget to the lower oil prices and gas at US $45 and US 2.25 per MMBTU of gas. I have some good news. Thus far, we have completed 3/4 of this fiscal year. And whilst we budgeted at $45 and 2.25, the recalibrated budget, the average prices for oil and gas is as follows. For the oil, remember we budgeted at $45, on average $60 above what we budgeted. For the gas, above 2.81, we budgeted 2.75. And so, whilst there was a projected deficit of about 3.8 billion, I'm happy to say that at the end of the first half of this fiscal year, there is no deficit. There is, in fact, a small surplus of $47 million. That is what prudent fiscal management is about. But, again, where oil and gas revenues have fallen, there are certain things that have become more important than before. And we must take note of and act accordingly. For instance, we must have effective management of revenue and expenditure. We must keep a sharp eye on the deficit. We must make the necessary fiscal adjustments to manage the economy with restraint. These are top priority. And whilst we do that at the same time, we must commit to an aggressive, sustained plan of economic growth with higher levels of investment, with increase in exports as the other side of the coin. And so, living within our means, managing prudently is one side of our strategy going forward. The other side is to grow the pie so that more will be available for all. The third is to change our pattern of expenditure without disturbing social cohesion. That is the challenge of economic and fiscal management, my friends. I talk to you now a bit about diversification, because as we go forward, we must intensify the diversification process to bringing more revenue. One of our major plans then going forward will be a dedicated effort to intensify the diversification process to create jobs and to promote growth. The thrust to diversify at a faster pace depends a large measure on private sector investments. So you know what? We will focus more on private sector investments and public-private partnerships to stimulate the diversification thrust. In this regard, as we go forward, we have identified 7 clusters in collaboration with the private sector, and these are finance, information and communications, technology, tourism, maritime industries, food sustainability, and energy services. We will continue then to seek investments in these 7 cluster areas. But in addition to that, we will have specific strategies for growing the manufacturing sector with an export orientation. In addition to that, we have IDB support to grow exports in the services sector. All of this means more revenue and more jobs for the people of Trinidad and Tobago. The services and manufacturing sectors create most jobs in the country. We will work in partnership with industry leaders in these sectors to achieve national goals and targets. We have identified growth poles in the Southwest, Central, Port of Spain, Northeast, and East Tobago. And we will add 2 more growth poles in the Southeast, Rio Claro, Mayaro, and in the Sandy Grande area and its hinterland. So these 7 growth poles will be used to spread development across Trinidad and Tobago. In addition, within the growth poles, we have identified economic zones which are differentiated to attract specific clusters of investments. They will provide investment, jobs, new industries in different parts of our country. There is already substantial investment and growth in the financial sector by banks and insurance companies already operating here in Trinidad and Tobago. Even a company such as BHP in the energy sector is creating jobs in the financial services. Ongoing investment and growth in Chagaramas and Maracas in tourism and entertainment sector will create opportunities for you for micro businesses and jobs. There is also investment in shipping and the marine sectors. In fact, a company, Ollendorff, has been here for close to 2 years, and they now have plans to establish a dry dock facility in La Brea, one of the depressed areas in our country. Investment in the energy sector, Mitsubishi, Massey, NGC, potential for manufacturing, which I already mentioned, with spin-off benefits for all in our land. That is why I say to you, we must have a second term in office to continue the transformation which needs to be made, to take deep root. We want to continue to build on every tangible achievement already accomplished. In the last 5 years, our emphasis has been on stabilizing the lives of citizens through social support, building infrastructure in communities, to give comfort in things as roads, drains, sidewalks, bridges, landscapes, community centers, internet access, skills building, education and training programs, health centers, hospitals, and so many more throughout the land. We focus heavily on social infrastructure in the country at large, especially in education and health, so as to open up our country and to connect communities, to stimulate commerce, to strengthen the transportation network, and to improve traffic flows. And so, you know, how many of you came from the Deep South? Anybody here from Deep South? From Central? How easy it was to drive up from the south and vice versa, to drive back down from the north to the south. Anybody here from the east, Valencia and Grande? How easy it was to use the Valencia bypass to get here, and you will use it again to go back home. And anybody here from Diego Martin and the Northwest Peninsula? How easy it was to use the Diego Martin Highway to get here and to go back home when we are finished. And so, I say, as we look to the future, we will focus on 6 new areas of emphasis as we continue with the 5 priority areas budgeted for. These key areas are as follows. And I'll remind you of the 5 and the added ones that we have, the key areas that we will pursue for progress. 1, personal and national security, where we have made significant progress. But when it comes to people's safety, it will never be enough. People must feel safe and protected in their country. And this is why we will continue our aggressive efforts to decrease every single type of criminal activity in Trinidad and Tobago. And if I can ask you to turn your eyes to the screen, you will see on that screen a picture of the first of 12 ships which has already arrived on the shores of Trinidad and Tobago. This ship is but one of 12 that we are purchasing to lock down our maritime borders so that we can fight the drug trafficking, the human trafficking, and the trafficking in guns and ammunition. This is the first. By next month more will come. It is the first of 12 vessels at a cost that is far less than was ever budgeted by the PNM for the OPVs. One of these vessels, $35 million US. The OPV was $135 million US, $100 million less to help us to lock down our borders. And so today, I rededicate and recommit that we must join hands, and together we will fight the criminals. Zero tolerance to crime. We will lock down the criminals and take back safety and security in Trinidad and Tobago. Another area, key area, poverty eradication and human development. In this we have made phenomenal progress. Social support measures have been increased and improved. Pensions have been increased not once but twice. Wages have been increased across the board so that we have more today, more land ownership and more home ownerships than ever before. We continue food security and sustainability. Food production is up, food inflation is down generally, and good linkages with the school feeding programs have been enhanced. Health and hospitals. There has been good improvement across the board in the health sector. Niggling problems continue, but we are witnessing a massive diversification and geographical accessibility program in the health sector. Major initiatives for world-class facilities and service. We will soon open the first ever children's hospital in Trinidad and Tobago. We will soon open the first ever oncology center in Trinidad and Tobago. Look, I know, every one of you know, everyone knows, every one of you here would have felt the pain of a sick child. Every one of you here would have known the trauma of not getting help. Yes, the Children's Life Fund, yes, but in addition, this hospital right here in Trinidad where they can go, where our children can be taken care of. I think every one of you knows someone or has had someone who has suffered the trauma and the pain of cancer. The others promised this oncology center for decades. We are building it. We will open the oncology center in this term, in this year. The other key area has been in job creation, growth, economic competitiveness, and innovation. Our economy has recovered. I shared with you the macro indicators earlier when I talked about the state of our economy. And our economy has recovered, is buoyant, Confidence is strong, investment is growing. But you know what? We still have to do more to improve competitiveness. The disposition to innovation, competitiveness and entrepreneurship is very positive. With unemployment very low, I know that we are getting somewhere good in this arena as well. In fact, over the past 5 years, as we gather today to celebrate, to reflect, and to plan forward, I remind you, we must have done a great job in the 5 years, because once more, Trinidad and Tobago is in the top ranks of the world's happiest people, happiest man alive, happiest woman alive in Trinidad and Tobago. And as I've shared some of what we've done, I've shared some of where we came from. I think you can stay with me a little longer so I can share with you some of our plans for the future of Trinidad and Tobago for the next 5 years. 1, intense diversification. We will intensify diversification. Why? To grow our economy outside the energy sector. In the 7 clusters I mentioned, in the 7 growth poles, and in the 7 economic zones. We will target work with the manufacturing sector to achieve a higher level of exports. This we will also do with the ICT-driven services sector. You know what? This will have a positive effect on foreign exchange earnings, and as equally important, will have a tremendous effect on providing good, sustainable, quality jobs for you. As we go forward, infrastructure development, including broadband, will serve to open up our country internally, to connect people and communities to the main arteries and centers, to stimulate commerce, business creation, growth and development, and to manage transport. In this way, we are preparing our country for the world, and we are preparing our country to deepen the process of building a knowledge-based economy. Another key area that we will address, addressing the issues of productivity, is a very major priority. Industries cannot compete in the world, cannot grow exports without enhancing productivity. And I tell you, no country can make significant progress unless the people are productive, unless the institutions are efficient and effective, and that all citizens with ambition and drive strive to do more and to do better. So we will focus on improving the productivity in Trinidad and Tobago. We will work with labor and business to achieve our goals. Further, in our plans, we will continue to forge international partnerships for growth. We will internationalize our energy platform through partnership with our neighbors. We will work with Venezuela to monetize the manatee fields which we share. There are opportunities in Guyana and Suriname which we have begun to explore and which we will continue to pursue with increased vigor. These opportunities can be leveraged based on our own proud history of over 100 years in the energy sector. Possibilities also exist for collaboration with Barbados, which is now involved in its 2nd round of oil and gas exploration. My government has also signed an MOU with the IDB to collaborate globally to establish an energy fund for Caribbean economic sustainability, which will transform the energy matrix. Another issue we will concentrate upon is that of good governance, a very important issue. We are addressing the issue of corruption through procurement legislation. We have established a committee headed by former President of the Senate, Mr. Timothy Hammersmith, and that committee includes civil society, private sector members, and that committee's job will be to ensure implementation of the historic procurement legislation which we passed in this term. We have completely overhauled the planning regime to facilitate development through effective land use. And you know what? We have strengthened the law and the institutions to fight white-collar crime. We have facilitated the revamping of Parliament. You will see us in Parliament answering questions. You will see us dealing with urgent questions, Prime Minister's questions. And I enjoy those sessions, by the way. I hope you watch them. Prime Minister question time is my favorite time on the agenda of the Parliament when we go to Parliament. And so, we need to focus on innovation-driven public sector. Because our public sector, we need to help them to become more innovative, and they must be there to serve the citizens. They must be committed as well to support the productive sectors. We need productive, performance-driven, profitable state enterprises. We need to strengthen the independent institutions of the state, and we need to further address issues of quality improvement in the health and education sectors. We need to increase our efforts and intensify them in the fight against crime. And we need to strengthen transparency and accountability throughout all systems in our land. I said these are the areas as we go forward that we commit to dealing with, to address these issues. At another time, we'll give you more details as to how we plan to handle those very key issues. We will also have asset management and maintenance. You know, so many buildings in the public sector, government buildings, the condition of those buildings. We must pay more attention, and we will, to management of those assets and maintenance of those assets. We cannot put up schools and highways, roads, sports facilities, hospitals, and just leave them to fall apart. We must have a dedicated program for asset management and for maintaining the plant of Trinidad and Tobago. As I come to a close, I share with you some of our flagship projects going forward. One, the highway from San Fernando to Mayaro. This will begin now and will continue until completion. This will begin now, as I say. We will continue until completion. It will link the Rio Clara Mayaro growth poles to the San Fernando waterfront development project. Two, the access on the ocean front to Chaguaramas. This will be a public-private partnership project. Consultations will begin this year, and we will begin project implementation in our second term in office. Three, we will establish dry docking facilities in La Brea through a public-private partnership. With a possible start-up in 2016, as I said before, this will bring us thousands of sustainable jobs in a traditionally depressed area. Four, a national transport and traffic management strategy linked to accelerated decentralization thrust and the growth poles development strategy, which will include things like park and ride, dedicated to bus lanes, water transport. This we will execute in sequence, supported by studies, and we can begin immediately with traffic management in targeted focal points. Five, a medical tourism hospital involving public-private sector and the university in collaboration in the East-West corridor, supported by international collaboration and expertise. This will be separate and distinct from the other state-driven hospital projects focused on local and national communities that we have already initiated. Six, development on a sequential basis of the 7 economic zones. These will be rationalized for agro-processing, commercial services, manufacturing, light manufacturing, petrochemicals, and high-tech manufacturing. These will bring good quality, sustainable jobs created by initiatives and decentralization, and we will accelerate that process. 7, the San Fernando Waterfront Development Project. The first study has been done. Consultations have been held, and this project is ready to go. We have already put a committee in place headed by businesswoman Mrs. Daphne Bartlett. 8, we have not forgotten Tobago. Development of a marina in Tobago and designation of Tobago as a duty-free port. A marina to be built and designating Tobago as a duty-free port. We will collaborate with the THA to make this a meaningful, economically sustainable initiative. 9, the doubling of non-energy exports initiative. This will involve partnering with the private sector in manufacturing and in ICT-based services. As I said, these are but some. And we move on. We will work directly with the stakeholders. We have done a port rationalization study done by IDB consultants. On the basis of that study, we will build a post-Panamax port in Port of Spain linked to other development of Port of Spain initiatives. This will include development of Invaders Bay, development of the Chaguaramas Peninsula on the basis of private sector participation. Port of Spain will be renewed as a port city with extensive waterfront leisure, entertainment, business, and residential areas. These will all bring more jobs and more revenue to Trinidad and Tobago. So let's talk finally about keeping promises, because I'm pledging these are some of the projects we will do in our next term. We will lay out for you in our manifesto our commitments shortly, and these are just some of the highlights. I ask you to make sure to check our campaign website. It was launched today, and that campaign website is very simple. CAMLA2015.tt. CAMLA2015.tt. Please repeat, CAMLA2015.tt. CAMLA2015.tt. Log on to the website to get updates of the campaign and of the plans and progress of the partnership. So let me remind you when I say, talking about keeping promises, 90% of the pledges we made in our 2010 manifesto have been kept, pledges completed, in process, to completion, initiated, and action, 90%. So whatever we are now saying in 2015, we will do over the next 5 years, because we keep our promises and our pledges. I want you to compare this to the decades of waste, squander, and incompetence that was the hallmark of the PNM regime. And make no mistake, nothing has changed with the DNA of the PNM. It is the same members of cabinet since the 1990s who are being selected, or their offspring. Never be fooled by them and their promise of new faces of change. They will never change. We have accounted for our 2010 manifesto pledges. We laid our achievements, documents in Parliament in 2014. We reported on performance in Parliament in 2013, 2014, and last month in 2015. When did they ever account for manifesto pledges? In 1996 manifesto of them, the opposition, the 76 manifesto, they promised an international airport in Tobago. Promise never materialized. PNM. It was the NRR that built that Tobago airport, and the partnership has enhanced and expanded it. In 1981, they promised to build a 4-lane highway to Chaguaramas and talked about a causeway. We will build the road, the causeway to Chaguaramas. You just give us your blessings in election 2015. How many times did they promise an oncology center? We are billionaires, I told you we will open it. I think the one that takes the cake is a Point Fortin highway. In 1961, in 1966, in 1981, they promised. Well, your partnership started it in 2011. Several phases are open, and we will finish that Point Fortin highway. In their 1981 manifesto, they promised what they call the San Fernando to Princeton arterial to Mayaro. Okay? San Fernando, Princeton, Mayaro. That was their promise in 1981. PNM promise never materialized. It is this partnership government. We are going to start that this year very shortly, and we will finish that San Fernando to Mayaro highway in our second term. For decades they promised. For decades they promised a center for open heart surgery, the Rima Hospital, the Point Fortin Hospital. Who do you think you can rely upon to make it happen? We have started all of this. Turn this on. If we tell you we will do it, we will do it, sisters and brothers. We have done it. We can do it. We will do it, we promise, guaranteed. Don't listen to them. A record of broken promises and non-performance. But your partnership has been that of keeping promises with record delivery. And so, put your faith in us as we have put our faith in you, and together we will build a future for Trinidad and Tobago. I wanted to share with you the wild allegations about expenditure, but I'll save it for another day, because they say we have spent so much money with no value. First of all, those are untrue statements, but I'll deal with it another day. I close here with some population needs, again, as it takes us forward. Population needs. When we look at our population, 1.3 million about, we know that the median age of persons in our country is 32.6%. That 13% is over 60 years old, and 45% is under the age of 30. We have 335,000 youth and 273,000 children. So we must look more carefully at the demographics of the population. And we would see there are several issues we must pay dedicated attention to. These are, we must take care of our children. We have been taking care of our children. We will continue to take care of our children. Our youth, we have been educating our youth, giving them skills, getting work, trying to keep them out of trouble. The elderly, we have given so much, they gave so much. We have created many opportunities. We have raised their pension not once but twice in this 5 year. The gender balance. We must take note that there are still women receiving less pay, and therefore we will work harder to create equal pay for work between men and women. Again, the differently abled, we have given special attention to the differently abled, and will continue so to do. And I say to you, it is with people in mind. We are about people-centered government. All our strategies are those to put people at the center of our plan and our program. You know, as I close, I say we have delivered what we said we will do. We have also delivered what the old and new Dr. Raleigh party said they would do, but did not do. They simply cannot do it. But I know that yes, we can. We can do it. We will do it. We can do it. Yes, we can. Yes, we can. Yes, we can go forward to victory for a future for Trinidad and Tobago. More than any other government, my government has delivered in these past 5 years. And so today I assure you, we are ready for victory. The time has come. The time is here. We are ready to do battle to keep our great country on a path of success, progress, and equality. Take heed, take note, take warning. Do not be deterred by all the negative, false, and malicious reports coming from the other side. They are desperate because they cannot contest our achievements. And so you will see in the coming months, even more than has happened in the past 5 years, believe it or not, many more scurrilous lies and attacks they would hurl at our partnership members and myself as your Prime Minister. I say to you today, do not fear them. Do not let them deter you. Do not let them break your spirit and your drive. Do not fall for their lies and their desperation. These attacks from the usual detractors, from talking heads in various forms, from the writers and the critics who make false prophecies with their pens, but they have never walked and lived amongst the people as my partnership members and I have. They sit with their pen and their paper and their computers, but they have never walked the walk or talked the talk with the people of Trinidad and Tobago. They cannot accept the change we have brought to transform our nation into this great place of unity, of love, of equality and progress that our ancestors only dreamed about. They could never understand the greatness of the collective will of a people united in a dream of progress and hope. And so what? They launch relentless attacks and criticism. But when you feel despair, in such moments, let me share with you how I deal with all the negatives that come my way. I am sure, having been the most attacked Prime Minister in this country's history, that some may wonder how I can come out and smile and do my task that my fellow citizens and the good Lord appointed me to do. And I tell you today, it is because, as I have often said, I put God in front and I walk behind. And I take comfort, I take strength in the holy text, which gives us this advice: consider it all joy, my brethren, when you encounter various trials, knowing that the testing of your faith produces endurance. And let endurance have its perfect result, so that you may be perfect and complete, lacking in nothing. I also take comfort in the words of the Psalms, which tells us, for you have tried us, O God. You have refined us as silver is refined. You have brought us into the net. You laid an oppressive burden upon our loins. You made men ride over our heads. We went through fire and water. And yet now, good Lord, you have brought us into a place of abundance. You have brought us now into a place of abundance. And in the book of Isaiah, the good Lord prepares us for battle. He prepares us for battle, and let us take that advice and take those holy words as we prepare for political battle. I say to you, as the holy text tells us, when you pass through the waters, I will be with you. And through the rivers, they will not overflow. When you walk through the fire, you will not be scorched, nor will the flame burn you. The people who walk in darkness will see a great light. Those who live in a dark land, the light will shine on them. And yet, those who wait for the Lord will gain new strength. They will mount up with wings like eagles. They will never run and get on. They will not become weary. They will walk and will not become weary. And so, my soldiers all, are you ready to walk the path of victory once more with me? Are you ready to fight the great fight so that the generations will live in a land of freedom and hope? Remember these words of a great song. Remember these words of a very great song. We made a promise. We swore we'd always remember. No retreat, no surrender. Like soldiers in the winter night, blood brothers and sisters in the stormy night, with a vow to defend, no retreat, no surrender, no retreat, no surrender. Victory, victory is at hand. Are you ready? Are you ready to take that moment once more into your hands, to tell our opponents that we believe in the promised land, a land which is your land and my land, a land that was made for you, for me, and all future generations. I know I am ready, and I say the political battle lines are drawn. There is no turning back now. I've roamed and rambled. I followed my footsteps to the sparkling sands of a diamond desert. And all around me, a voice was sounding. All around me. This land was made for you. This land was made for me. This land was made for all of us. When the sun came shining, when I was strolling, when the fields were waving and the dust clouds rolling, as the fog was lifting, a voice was chanting, this land was made for you. This land was made for me. This land was made for all of us. Nobody living can ever stop me. As I go walking that freedom highway, nobody living can ever make me turn back, because this land was made for you, for me, and for everyone. I close. Today, as I close, I will take the pledge of renewal, and I ask the leaders of the partnership to please join me at the podium as we take the pledge, the renewal pledge. You all may have to come on this side because I need my right hand. Please join us. Please join us, leaders. Give a round of applause for the partnership leaders. Please come on this side. I will need my hand. Okay, so I need you to hold on this side. Hold hands on this side. Okay. Can you go this way, please? Please, can we please hold hands? Can we hold hands? This is our renewal pledge. This is our renewal pledge. This is going to fly away. I'm having a little problem with the wind, so let me just see if we can close it. Just hold it for me, please. I'm using both arms. I still need it, by the way. Okay. I, Kamla Prasad Bisasa, joined with the other leaders of the coalition grouping that comprises the People's Partnership, to renew my pledge to you, to acknowledge the impatience with which for decades you have waited. You have waited for basic needs which are now only being met. Needs such as for water, for schools, police stations, healthcare, or simply the idea that leaders will be held accountable to a higher standard than ever before. I pledge to acknowledge the times when we falter and to renew our commitment to grow from these experiences and to introduce new ideas from fresh talent drawn from those of you who are ready to serve our nation. With these new resources and energy, I pledge to keep the flame of our nation's renewal burning bright in our hearts and minds. The dream we gave birth to in 2010 is very much alive and will remain this nation's best and only opportunity for a better future to include everyone. I ask you now, as I did then in 2010, to keep the faith, to celebrate how far we have come, to join hands with us once again in developing the full potential of this great nation. And always remember, all of you, I want you to forever remember this. Be still. Be still. And know that I am God. Fear not, for I am always with you. I am that I am. These words of the Lord will keep us strong together. Be still and know that I am God. Fear not, for I am always with you. I am that I am. And to you I say, half of me belongs to you. Today I say, the other half I give to you. May God continue to bless you. May God continue to bless the partnership. And may God continue to bless our great nation, Trinidad and Tobago. Thank you. Thank you. Go safe, and go brave. Thank you.
Talking about forever, baby. Talk about us. Give me my word, and I speak to my heart. Even when I say it, baby, it's just because you don't understand. Oh, girl, before it's into my bed. Baby, I wanna be so provider. Just say you let me, Johnny, I will. Thank you, Madam Dominic, for having me here. Yeah. Oh, Lord, can I sing this one more song for her? Yeah, and I want you to stay with me. Yes, because you're all I need. Yes, peace and love is innocent. Darling, stay with me. Ooh, la, la, la. Stay with me, stay with me, stay with me. Yes, stay with me, stay with me, stay with me. Oh, Lord. This is love and it's clear to see. Shining stay. Trinidad on your feet, hey! We're gonna start the show. It's gone. Ready. Yeah.
Yeah!